Hello, a very good morning to you today. I hope you're well on this little bit overcast, but hopefully soon to be bright Monday. Today I'm going to be making some necklaces with you. I'm going to be making some two colours using some split rings, and we're going to be making a really lovely effect using these glass pearl beads. I've named them the Samantha pearl jewellery necklace, and I'll take you over to the website shortly so I can show you what is in your kits today. Each kit's going to make one necklace, and I think there's 10% off as well. So we'll head over to the website. We are, of course, totallybeads.co.uk, and here is where you will find the goodies for today. So head into the video tutorial category. You can find them here on the main page. There's different ways to get into it, and you can also scroll into the jewellery making section at the top and then just select video tutorials. So lots of different ways to get into it, and it is named Samantha. So have a little look. It's just this one here. I've got 4 lovely colours for you today. I've got them in not only do the beads change colours, but also the split rings and your findings change colours as well. So they are £5.39 each kit. It's going to make up one necklace. We've got the gold haze, the ice blue, a marshmallow and a metallic. So I'll show you how the gold haze looks here. I'm using the gold coloured split rings, which I'm just creating this lovely little effect. I've got size 6 glass pearls. I'm using some Tigertail, so you're going to use 2 lengths of the Tigertail. That's just about 50 centimetres, which is just under 20 inches for this particular length. You're going to get your gold lobster clasp, culottes, crimps, and your jump rings, which is outer diameter 6 by 1. If you want to have a little look exactly what colour pearls I'm using in this kit, it's going to come with the lemon chiffon and also the golden haze. They're both 6mm in size, and there you can see your split rings there. If you want to add anything else into your basket, you can do just here by adding quick add, but I think one lovely necklace for £5.39 is a really good buy. You can of course change up the sizes that you want to. You'll probably have some pearls left if you want to make these longer. If you've got findings in your stash, you might want to add a little few in to make a little bracelet as well. I think I'm going to demonstrate a bracelet for you today, just because it'll take a little while and it is quite repetitive doing this pattern. You can see here we've got the ice blue for you, which is really pretty. So you can see we're just creating that little zigzag effect. We've done certain ones before with cord thread, and we've done ones we've alternated the sizes of the beads, but I thought I'd try this with 2 size 6mm beads. So I'm using the blue steel and the iceberg. This is all on your silver colourway. In terms of numbers, for the split rings, I usually use about 94 pieces of the split rings, and then 48 of one colour and 47 of another colour in terms of your pearls. But again, you can make these as large or as small as you like. So this one is your lovely blues. We have the marshmallow, which is really pretty. We've got 2 colours in this one as well. So I've gone for the watermelon, which is a lovely pink shade, and a light peach as well. Really love these light peach. They're very, very pretty. And these are on the rose gold coloured jump rings and findings. So your crimp beads, culottes, jump rings, clasp, and your split rings will all be on a rose gold colourway, which just adds into that lovely marshmallowy colour. And then lastly, still for £5.39, we've got a metallic, which is a lovely kind of monochrome look. So we've got a black and a silver dust, and I'm using rhodium plated findings for this one. So your split rings will be rhodium, as will your clasp. So you can see we're just adding them in onto those 2 lengths jump rings and then combining them with those lovely split rings. You could, if you wanted, do this with jump rings, but you probably need at least 2 jump rings for each section, so you'd be using an awful lot of them. You'd have to make sure they were perfectly closed. Using the split rings is just a really good way of getting that effect with that little bit of ease. So £5.39 today for your lovely Samantha necklaces, gold haze, ice blue, marshmallow or metallic. I think I'm going to demo the marshmallow today, which is this one here, which is the pinks and that lovely kind of creamy look. What was that bead called again? So just to let you know, it's watermelon and light peach is what I'm going to demonstrate on the rose gold for you today. They are quite quick makes, but I am just going to demonstrate a bracelet for you. Drop me a little comment, let me know which one you like the look of. I feel there might be a sneeze coming if I'm feeling a little bit, or if I'm sounding a little bit So let's see who's in. I've got the lovely Jan who's saying good morning, Natalie and everybody from a bright Sudbury. It is getting brighter. It was a little overcast this morning, but hopefully no rain. It was torrential yesterday. I had to get all my washing out and then bring it all back in. Good morning to Rachel in a sunny Barrow. Good morning to Mina. Camille's in as well. She says seems cooler with blue skies. We've had a little bit of a mixed bag. I went away for a couple of days, so the weather was a bit hit and miss, but when it was sunny and warm, it was very, very sunny and very, very warm. I even managed to catch a little bit of sun on my chest where I didn't put my sun cream on. Always put your sun cream on. Good morning to Melissa. How are you doing? She says she's coming from New York today. Hope all is well. Well, I'd guess it's probably good afternoon or good evening to you, is it? Or is it good very early morning, Melissa? Thank you so much for joining me. Joanne's in as well. She says the sun's out with some puffy white clouds and her granddaughter's sleeping next to her. Morning. Camille says sounds delicious, lemon chiffon. Good morning to Lisa. I never named these ones. Well, I named the make, called it Samantha, but I didn't name the colours, so I can't take credit for marshmallow. But yeah, I think there's a reason why it's marshmallow with watermelon. Good morning to Carol. Hello to Monica. How are you doing? Jan says she's bought all of these kits and they came on Saturday. Wow, so you can actually make along with me now, Jan, in actual time. In terms of measurements for you today, then, if you're making a necklace, I've used 94 pieces of the split rings, 48 of one colour pearl and 47 of the other colour pearl. So you can choose which one you want to use that one extra one of, or of course you can just make it to the length that suits you. Kel's in as well. Kel's Lampwork, Glass, Jewellery and more. She says, hi Natalie, I hope you're okay. Long time no watch and I can only apologise about that on my behalf. Also, hey everyone, I'm on my business account. Hello Kel, how are you doing? It's lovely to see you back here with us. I hope life is treating you well. I hope you've been making lots of beautiful lampwork, glass, jewellery and more. Good morning to Debbie as well. Okay, let me take you down on the mat so you can see how these colourways look. So this one's called metallic, but I would say monochrome because it's black and white. Well, it's not, it's black and you've got that silver dust. It's Kelly Tomic. Okay, I wasn't sure. So this is your business account. So hello, Kelly. How are you doing? Please excuse my nails. I have tried to do a little bit of wire work, and I've been making some bits, and they're a little bit battered. So ignore them. But look at these. Look at these beauties. I'll do one at a time, shall I? So this is your metallic, which is your lovely kind of black and your silver dust beads, and they're on the rhodium findings, so you can see those split rings are just running along in the middle. We have this watermelon colourway here, which is like your pink and your, look at the tone on that, they're beautiful. So they're the beads that I'll be using today. I'm just going to make a little bracelet, but this is your necklace. And that is in the rose colour findings as well. They're very comfortable because they sit nice and flat. This one here is your, was this your lemon chiffon? Let me have a little look. This is your golden haze. So you've got those lovely kind of lemony and almost peach golden tones in there. Oh, Kel, I hope you're okay. She says she's at hospital at the minute. Sending you lots of love and best wishes. And hello, Heather, who's in work this morning. Feels like I've been off for ages, and I've not been off at all. It's just Frank's been off, my little one on half term, and it feels like forever we've been in a normal routine. So this one is on the yellow gold. When you are making, you just want to make sure that you've got that curve in your necklace. So all your beads are lying nice and flat when you attach on your last clot and crimp bead. So it's sitting nice and flat and it'll lie lovely and flat on your neckline. If you're making a bracelet, we don't necessarily need that curvature in it. So we'll just be laying it flat that way. So it will sit across the wrist like so. Camille says the two foodie ones, the ones I like. And this one is your lovely blues. So you've got your iceberg colourway there. So you've got, it's called ice blue, and you've got your steel blue, which is the darker one, and then you've got your iceberg, which is the slightly lighter tone. So all of your kits today are just £5.39, and that's going to make you one very pretty necklace. So you can see they sit nice and flat. You just have to make sure you get that curvature when you're going to attach your clasp at the end, and it'll sit lovely. But I also think it makes a nice size bracelet as well. I'm hoping the camera stays playing today and it doesn't just switch itself off. So let's get making. Let's go down on the mat. I'll keep tapping the screen every now and again just to, I know it might be a bit wobbly, but just to keep the phone aware and my camera aware that it is in use and it doesn't time out. So I'm going to cut 2 lengths of Tigertail, which is about 50 centimetres, which is, I think, to be precise, it's about 19.6 inches. But you can cut this to as long as you want. Obviously, I've already made a necklace and you can see I've still got plenty of beads left over. I don't imagine Simon's going to be counting out your beads in the warehouse. You're probably just going to get a strand. So if you've got any of your split rings left over, or of course you could do them with the jump rings, you could do a bracelet as well. So there's plenty to play around with in terms of your length. I think today, because I am going to do a bracelet, I might just cut 2 lengths at, I might just cut 9 inches or 8 inches for now, because it will work exactly the same. I just want to show you how to get that pattern. So I'm cutting 2 lengths of Tigertail of equal length. Your Tigertail is a lovely beading material. It is very fine pieces of wire, and then it's just coated in like a nylon coating. So it keeps it very strong and very supple, sorry. Let me just try and, no, I'll just pop that over there. It's at the end of the reel. So let's see if I've got plenty of space on my desk. Oh, I really hope you're okay, Cal. It's not nice when you're not well and you're away from home. So I'm taking 2 lengths of my Tigertail and I'm putting them together. I'm going to start off with my clot and my crimp beads. So for this marshmallow colourway, I'm using the rose gold, which is just lovely. I've got, in terms of tools today, I'm going to use 2 pairs of pliers, 2 like chain nose pliers or flat nose pliers, just to open up and close my jump ring. So just to differentiate between your jump ring and your split ring. So your jump rings are 1 little piece of wire. These are 6 by 1 outer diameter. So the 1 is your 1mm wire or 18 gauge wire, which makes them nice and strong and sturdy. And they have that opening. Getting bits all over the place. So I'm just going to find where it opens, and I will open it towards me or away, and that is my jump ring. My split ring looks very similar, same size, but it is coiled round twice. So when you make jump rings or split rings, you have your wire and you wrap them round a dowel. These are machine made, so not handmade, so they're very trusty, and it's wrapped round and round and round into this one very long coil, and then they're cut. So when you cut your jump ring, you just cut in so you've got one ring. When you're doing your split ring, it will open. You can prise it open that way, and it's a bit like what you'd see usually on a key ring. So it's just giving that double ring effect. Struggling to focus a little bit today. Good morning, Julie. Oh, thank you so much. So bought them all. Hello to Pauline. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're well too. So they're my split rings, and they're the things that are going to be used throughout the main body of the necklace. So I'm only going to need 2 of my jump rings. So I'm going to take my culotte and my crimp bead. All of these findings will be in the same colour. At first this morning I couldn't find my rose gold crimp beads, but I thought it doesn't really matter because you won't see them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2 lengths of Tigertail, I'm going to place them together, and I'm going to take my culotte and I'm going to push both of them up through the hole at the bottom of the culotte. So my culotte is going to act as a wire guardian. It's going to act as something that's going to protect my my wire or my beading thread. You can tie a little knot if you're using like a silk thread or a cotton thread inside them. If we're using the Tigertail, I'm just going to add the crimp beads. And because I'm using these, I don't need to crimp my crimp beads. I just need to kind of crush them flat, and they're going to hide in that little circular bit, so I can attach my clasps and my jump rings to that. So I'm going to add on my first crimp bead and my second crimp bead, and they're going over both ends of the Tigertail. And then I'm going to take a pair of chain nose or tweezer nose or whatever pliers or a crimp bead crimper, and I'm just going to push it right up to the end of both pieces of Tigertail, and I'm going to flatten that down. So I'm changing it from that circular shape. Come on, focus. There you go. And again, bringing the next one up so it's sitting next to it, and just pressing down to flatten it there. If you've got any excess Tigertail, you can trim it off the end, but what I want to do is I want to make sure that they're both flattened down, and that's going to keep hold of my Tigertail. I'm pushing them inside of the culotte, so into that rounded shape here, and I'm just going to fold it over with my fingers first to get those 2 little bits nicely lined up. There you go. And then again with my chain nose or some pliers, I'm just going to put a gentle bit of pressure on that rounded part there to flatten it out. You'll see now how these 2 pieces, come on focus camera, will join together and just close so I can get my jump ring through that. Hello Brian, how are you doing? Brian says, morning Natalie and viewers. This looks kind of like the necklace from last year around this time. We have done some similar before. I think Laura's done one and she used 2 different sizes of beads, so her beads on the inside. I think I've done it as well. It's a nice little technique. I think these beads can be smaller and then these ones larger on the outside. I did one not long ago as well, which was a trellis effect, but I was using a macrame cord with that one, and we just knotted the ends to create like an adjustable clasp. This time I'm using the Tigertail and the same sizes of the glass pearls, and I'm using 2 different colours of the glass pearls. So we've not changed it up too much, but you can just change a couple of components in terms of your colourways, and you have a very different looking necklace and a very nice wear. Good morning, Elaine. How are you doing? So to start off, now I've got my 2 pieces of Tigertail lined up together, I'm going to take one of my glass pearls. So let me just open up my threads. I probably will only need to use a few for a bracelet. So if I was making my necklace, I'd have 2 lengths of 50 centimeters, which is just under 20 inches each. So you're looking at 100 centimeters almost of your Tigertail, or almost 40 inches of your Tigertail, because we're using 2 lengths. I'd be using about 94 pieces of my split ring, which are those doubled over ones, and then I'd be using 48 colours of one pearl and 47 of the other pearl, and they are the same size. So now I've added on my crimp bead onto both pieces. I'm just going to take one bead and I'm going to add that onto both pieces. So I'm going to start with that lovely watermelon colour. And I'm just going to push up the tiger tail through the drill hole in the bead and have that just sitting next to my culotte. I'm now going to take my split ring, my first one, and I'm going to place that over both ends of my tiger tail as well, and that will come up to the top. So two ends of the tiger tail, both pieces together through one bead and through one split ring. I'm now going to split open my two pieces of tiger tail, and I'm going to add my next colour bead onto just one piece. And then the split ring, let me get some split rings out in a little pile. Just checking I'm still working and I've not gone off. I'm going to take both ends and I'm putting the split ring onto both pieces of tiger tail, and we're just going to alternate. Now I've popped my creamy lovely pearl. These will all push up, and when we start to make that necklace, we're going to get that curved shape like so. Because I've popped my kind of creamy bead onto this one, I'm going to alternate, so the watermelon coloured pink bead is going to go onto the other length. So I just lay it out flat on my work surface while I'm working, and then I'll push up and fix the tension as I go. So onto both, and then from now on we're just going to alternate. So split ring always goes onto both, and then swapping back to the other colour. So the same colour bead will always be on the same piece of tiger tail. So my watermelon will always be on the same. You can, if you want to, alternate them and put them on in any which way you want, but it's going to create this effect. So you'll have your inner colour as one and then the outer colour as another. So what you might find is while you're working, to speed you up, you can make sure you hold your tiger tail pieces flat, and you can hold the end and you can put a few on at the same time if you want to towards the end. As your tiger tail gets shorter as you're working along it, it's probably a little bit easier. This is quite easy for me because I've just cut two small lengths, but what I tend to do is just have a little kind of repetition in my head. So split ring onto both, doesn't want to go on. So I'm just kind of bringing those together just so I can get both ends through. And then you can see which one you're working off to alternate. One colour onto one. Split ring, oh, it's not a split ring, that's a jump ring. Split ring onto both. And then alternating again. So that lovely pink colour. And you can see I'm just creating a little pattern, and I can check quite easily which one I'm doing, which one I'm up to, and then slide them down. So you can see I'm already starting to get that lovely shape. Always make sure your split ring is going over to both. and that your beads are just going onto one. And it'll give you that lovely curve as you give it a little pull. Split ring onto both. Back to the watermelon. Of course, if you do make a mistake, if you put your bead on the wrong one, you're just sliding them off again. Nothing's fixed at this point, so it's an easy fix if need be. Again, don't worry about your tension too much. You can just sort that as you go. Both, and then one colour, and then both. So just have a little pile of my split rings out and just open up the strands of my pearls so I can just take them as I go. A nice straightforward make. Which doesn't take too long. I'm just kind of pointing my tiger tail pieces down just to get that split ring over both of them, and just working flat onto the table just helps me make sure I'm just picking up the right end of the tiger tail so it's not going to cross over and I'm not going to put the wrong one on the wrong side. Brian says you could mark just the end of one tiger tail with a marker pen to keep format straight. Is that so you know which side you're using? Yeah, absolutely. If you wanted to, I could just pop a little marker on this end one and I'd know that this is the kind of pink bead side. Sometimes if I'm doing something like this and I need a needle for my beads to go through, so when I was doing it with the or a similar design with the cord that I was using was quite a nice size. I think it may have been I'm not sure what size it was actually, but just to make sure it was going through the beads okay. I had two different size needles, so I had a longer needle on one and a shorter needle on the other, and that helped me kind of to see it as well. They can cross over, so just make sure that you're keeping them straight and you've got an idea of which one's which. Pushing on that split ring onto both. You could, of course, if you wanted, just make a little section of this and you could add it onto a chain as well if you just wanted, you know, to have like a little center. Now, as I'm going to add more on, I'm just going to push those beads up a little bit. So I just tend to push on the split rings just to move them up, and that's just to stop this bit looking gappy. And then just correct the mistake that you've done. You can see if you do put the wrong bead on, it's really easy to just take it back off again. Morning, Sheila. How are you doing? Good morning to Yolanda. She says, happy good morning, everybody. And Mina says she's done a similar design with crystal beads. You can use any beads you want. But I do think these colourways look particularly lovely together. I have a little tickle in my throat and I felt a sneeze. I'm thinking though it's kind of hay feverish. I've done a lot of walking the last few days. Went to a beautiful part of the country called Knaresborough, and then I also went to Malham Cavern, is it called? Cave? which is like a massive like rock face. There was ice cream to be had. I went and visited a castle. I got to see some graffiti in a dungeon from about 1300, some ye oldie like arrow markings, and it was very, very nice. Only a couple of days, but nice way to spend the weekend. And I've got a new idea for a pet that I want. Not that I'd have it as a pet, because I didn't think you could have them as a pet, but I went to an animal rescue place and they had 2 little skunks, and there was a little boy skunk who was, well, he was 8 years old, and he was Pepe Le Pew, really original, but he was absolutely beautiful, very cuddly, very, very sweet. And I was thinking, I don't actually think I've ever seen a skunk in real life, because they're from America, aren't they, originally? And they're not something that you just get in the wild over here in the UK. So he was just absolutely beautiful, completely fell in love with him. And then I went to a birthday party with my little boy yesterday, and they had like reptiles and owls and some kind of exotic kind of little creatures for the children to look at. And there was another skunk there. This one was called Paul. For someone who's never seen a skunk in real life, I've got to hold 2 on 2 separate occasions in 1 week. So I no longer want a pet cow, I want a pet skunk. Has anybody ever seen a skunk before? We've got lots of people in America watching. Can someone back me up? They are really sweet little creatures. Mina's had the old flu since Thursday evening, but she's feeling better today. Yeah, my husband's had man flu, which is a different variant from general flu, Mina. It's worse. There's a lot of things going around with the change in the weather. So all you need to do is just keep dreaming about skunks and just alternate between your beads as you go until you've got the length that you want. You can see it's got that lovely shape to it. Let me see, if I was making this as a bracelet, I wouldn't necessarily need it to be curved. I'd just be pushing it up. So let's just run that along and see what size we're at now. I'm going to do a little bit more. Yeah, Brian says, sure, in case you get sprayed while on. Well, that was my first question. Will it spray me? And he said the handler said he's an absolutely amazing man. If you're ever in Knaresborough, go and see Dan. He does an amazing job of looking after lots of animals that people can no longer look after or have been neglected. And it's all just, leave him a donation if you can, because it is all just, donated and funded in that sense. He does amazing work. But I did ask him, does it spray? And he said no, because he's very used to humans. He doesn't see us as a threat. But there was a little girl skunk and she was only about 11 months, and he said that actually she might do. So Pepe had only sprayed once while they were there with him, and that was because a fire extinguisher had fallen on the floor, made a really loud noise and scared him. So I wanted to know what it smelled like. He said he had a headache for days afterwards. It smelled like burnt electricals, like burnt rubber, burnt onion. So it must be absolutely awful. But believe it or not, these were rescued from Liverpool, which is where I'm from. So I'm like, somebody around my way has actually had these as pets. They do make very sweet pets, but I don't know whether I'd really recommend it. I think they should be in the wild, but there you go. Jackie says Malham Cove, beautiful part of the Yorkshire Dales, just down the road from me. Jackie, I could have popped in and seen you. It's a lovely, lovely place. Really, really pretty. Gorgeous for a walk. Lovely to see a cow. I love cows. Camille says, have the skunks been deglanded or whatever it's called for them not to spray? No, Camille, they hadn't. I just risked it. I'm not talking anything about jewellery, I'm just wittering on. Right, when you've got the length that you want, if you're making your necklace, we want to get it into that curved shape. We want to sit it flat. So do get it into your shape to begin with, because if we pull this too tight and it's taut, you'll find it kind of doesn't quite sit. Can you see how it's kind of buckling? So we want to just make sure that it's pushed up nicely at the top. There's no major gaps in our necklace, but we've got that lovely curve. I might use that as just a little centerpiece. So you could, again, add chain if you wanted, or just do some other bead stringing. Hello, Angel Rose Design. She says, hello, everyone. I'm new here. I missed the start. I love this design, what you're working on. Thanks, Angel Rose. It's a quick make today because I'm just making a short version of these lovely Samantha necklaces. So they come in 4 lovely colours. You can get them from the Totally Beads website. They are just £5.39. You can change your currency and we ship worldwide. But I'll be honest, Angel Rose, I've just been chit-chatting about my weekend, so yeah, I might want to just fast forward when you've seen, if you're watching on a replay. So to finish, what I want to do is I'm going to pop my split ring over both as normal, and I just want to finish with the same colour that I started with. So I started with that lovely watermelon pink. I'm going to finish with that, but this time, instead of just popping it on the watermelon side, which is my outer side, I'm going to pop it over both. So both pieces of Tigertail are going to come up through the middle of that drill hole in the bead, and then I'm just going to push it down. Again, just make sure you've got your positioning right, so give it a little push up, and then what I tend to do is I take the pieces of Tigertail and I just give them a gentle pull, each one, and then make sure I've got that lovely curve. So I'm going to have this probably a bracelet length, but because I want to show you the curvature of it like you do when you're making your necklace, I'm going to do it this way. So it might not sit as a perfect bracelet, but it will sit as a perfect necklace if I want to attach that on. So just to go through what I've used, I would have used for the necklace 94 pieces of the split ring, which are these in the middle. I'd have used 2 lengths of 50 centimetres of the Tigertail, which is just under 20 inches, and I would have used 1 colour pearl and 47 pieces of that, and another colour pearl, which will be the outer side one, would have been 48, or whichever colour I started off with. So now I've popped my pearl onto both ends here. I'm just going to take my culotte, and again I'm just going to take both pieces of the Tigertail and put that through the hole in the bottom of the culotte. I want my culotte to be facing upwards and outwards, like so. I'm going to do one last check to see I'm all happy. You might need to just push these ones up because this is the bit where the most Tigertail will be exposed. But of course that will be sitting around the back of your neck anyway. So if I just hold that there, you're not really going to see that, but that is the most space you're going to have on your Tigertail. And then when your jump rings push together, you won't see much of it anyway. So now I'm going to need 2 more crimp beads. I always double crimp. Angel Rose, you can always watch back. So when I finish, this will be on our YouTube, which is what you're watching on, or you can watch us on the Totally Beads website. You can just go in and find Samantha Pearl Necklace in the video tutorials, and you can watch this back whenever you want. You can always fast forward as well if I'm chatting about stuff that you're not interested in, which is usually the weather, but today it's been skunks. Camille says Pepe Le Pew, the cartoon skunk. I was trying to remember the name. That's what he was called. He was called Pepe Le Pew. But what's really sweet is my little boy doesn't call it a skunk, he calls them stunks, which is just sweet and quite accurate. Right, so I'm popping in my crimp bead. If you can see, it's just here. So there you go. And I'm just going to make sure that my culotte is facing the same direction that I want it to. And I'm going to take my crimping pliers, or whichever pliers I want to use, just to flatten down that crimp bead. So if I can show you it inside, it's flat, and that's going to hold my culotte in place. And then going to take another crimp bead. These are all in the kits. All of your findings, everything you need to make along with me is in the kit. And I'm just going to flatten that one down too. So I'm double crimping, and that's just going to make it extra sturdy and extra strong. So that next crimp bead's just sitting, there we go, finally a bit of a clear shot. It's just sitting on top. I can make sure that's now fixed into position. And then I'm going to come in with my wire cutters. So all I really need is chain nose pliers and my wire cutters. They're quite blunt. Have I got another pair? Need to invest in some more tools, methinks. There we go, let's try these ones. Oh, yes. So I've just trimmed off the excess tiger tail. If there was any, there should be. And then I'm folding over the culotte to get them fairly lined up. And then a little bit of pressure just to close that over. And then all I need to do now is add on my jump ring. So again, the jump rings are slightly different from your split ring. It's just the one ring that goes round, not the two. You will have those in your kit. This is an outer diameter 6x1. So I think the inner diameter will be a 4x1 jump ring. And then you have these lovely 12mm lobster clasps as well. And they will all be in the same colour. So for this lovely marshmallow colourway with the watermelon pinky kind of cream pearls, they're on the rose gold. Your lovely one here, which is your golden haze, is on the gold coloured jump rings and split rings and findings. Your blue here, which is your ice blue, and this colourway contains your steel blue and your iceberg. They're on silver plated colours. Your monochrome metallic colour version, which is your kind of blacks and your lovely kind of silver grey colours, are on rhodium. I say this one's on the rose gold. So I'm going to take 2 pairs of my pliers, 2 pairs of chain nose, or a pair of chain nose and flat nose. Just something which doesn't have grips. On the inside, we want that nice and smooth, so I'm not marring any of my findings. I'm going to open up one jump ring, and I'm going to slide that through the 2 holes in the culotte that I've attached. And then my lobster clasps going to go on, and I'm just going to give that a little close. I'm turning it away from me just to make sure that those 2 ends line up nicely. And then on the other side, just going to give it a little twist towards me to open through the culotte, and a lovely close to finish. So sometimes let's take it slightly past the point where those 2 ends meet. Doesn't want to show you. And then spring it back. So this is a bracelet, but I've made it with the curve of a necklace, really. So you can make your design into a bracelet. I would just keep going with that, and then you'll see it will give you that lovely curve. What I think I'll do with this piece is I'm going to get like a rose coloured chain, and I'm just going to attach a chain, so I've just got that little centre. Ryan says he's liking the silver and the black, so this one here. So you can see when you've done your full necklace, it will sit nice and flat. Just give it a little twist out. It'll sit nice and flat around your neckline. And they are the Samantha pearl necklaces. They're just £5.39. This one is called metallic. This one here is called marshmallow, which is the one I've just demoed a section of. We've got this beautiful one here, which is your iceberg, which has got your blues in it. And then this one here for you to choose from as well is your very pretty golden haze. So a nice quick make, a nice simple make, and a very effective make as well. And that's about it. So thanks for that. Just Me says, pretty design. Thank you, Natalie. You're very, very welcome. Oh, I love a fact, Brian. Brian's telling me that in the south, skunks are sometimes called polecats. They have got like a little meerkat kind of look to them. Oh, I just think they're so lovely. Rachel says, beautiful make. Thank you. I'm going to go for this one today because it's skunk coloured. Maybe that's what I could have named it. I think metallic probably sounds a bit nicer for a piece of jewellery, doesn't it? Thanks, Rachel. So thank you so much for joining me. I apologise if you did watch me last week and I said I was doing elastic bracelet today. We've had a little change around of the kind of order in which I was planning on doing the month of June, which we're in already in June. So I'm not quite sure what I'm doing when, but what I do know is on Wednesday I'm going to be making some really lovely kind of coloured necklaces. I'm using the glass pearls. I'm using 2 colours of glass pearl. I've never done this technique before, and I am using a thread. So get your needles, get your thread, and come and join me, because hopefully it will all go well and you'll really like that too. Camille says, pretty. Thanks, Natalie. Have a lovely day. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with me today. I hope you all have a lovely start to the week. And if you can come and join me, I'm going to be here on Wednesday at 10 a.m. UK time. Till then, be good, keep making, and have fun. I'll see you.